What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. The pre-sales you guys have been waiting for with code What's Good 5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly. I know I'm incentivized, but time and time again we see this. And I put up my price estimates on the set and we saw the, we think that crossout designator is gonna be $100+ continuing through. You're crazy to think it'll drop under. Guys, those comments, look at the copium for the people who've already spent their money just to secure their playsets, and everybody's been buying them in playsets. Well, here we see it around $85 with my code. Triple Tactics Talent I called being around $33, and here it is $35 with 5% off, where the vendors over here are trying to cling to $40. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily really shows the mark of a vendor who doesn't just lead by greed. They know they could get even more, just barely undercutting the market by a slimmer margin. But look at this, Zeus 25% off versus these TCG player sellers trying to cling to 21 and ramp up competition. No, they know the amount of singles that are going to sell, be opened, and they price to sell on the future of the market rather than the current pre-sale market, and I love it. And so many cards down in price and more reasonable. And what I also like the look of is the secret rares. Not a single one over 10 bucks. Oh my gosh, Ecclesia way closer to what I called it at, where people were fighting back versus my price predictions. And they do have certain cards up higher versus my price predictions, which I do think Fractal is probably what I put under the market versus anything. And a lot of people are looking for upgrades. I think Cross Sheep's one of the greatest looking cards in the set. I personally will probably get myself a secret rare set of these when they come down in price. Not everything is going to be versus the bottom out market. And what I love that they do also, they have deck cores to make things even cheaper, like the Dogmatica. Look, 3 in the Dear Servant, 3 Ecclesia, then everything in the kitchen sink thrown in together along with that secret rare upgrade just for $99.99. But there's code What's Good 5 to make it $95 and support the channel directly. I love what they do, and this is why I tell you to wait for the big boys like Daily, like Tier 0, even with the waves. Wait to see what they're going to do before running out on the market and spending these prices on just a couple pre-approved sellers. I'm incentivized to say to use my TCG player link, but I always put my audience first no matter what set is coming out, and that's why you guys tend to use my codes or come back and use my link. Yeah, it's just not worth this little undercutting small ball quarter game, and we'll probably see the market actually react to their sales, or we'll see them sell out and some of these people try to buy them out to keep trying to make those higher profits. Now, I always on the channel try to be super fair with Konami, and I want to give big props to them actually speaking out here, because I said they need to make a statement, and they did. On the official Twitter, it reads, due to continued supply chain issues, some of our upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG products may be shipped in waves to ensure that all distributors and their stores have some product available in time for the release date. So they're basically saying, we're trying to get out what we can't get it all, and they even attribute it to specific shipping things. The 2021 10 of Ancient Battles is one of the upcoming products with the distribution spread out in waves and will require multiple shipments until distributors receive their full order. Please be patient, as all stores will be stocked up but not fully on release date. Please check with your stores for when they'll have additional inventory. Please be advised the 2021 10 of Ancient Battles distribution being spread out in waves only applies to American territories 3 hours ago, though. So why this is weird to me is the European distros have been telling the shops a little bit different. I've talked to Tier 0, and I specifically know they thought they were getting things in waves, so they're going to have to get back to their distros and see how things are going to go. I really hope this sticks from 2 different statements on Twitter. I also know that Konami's the same company that had people on Reddit saying Ash Blossom isn't short printed, or Secret Forces doesn't have short prints in the past. But this seems like a very definitive statement, and I look forward to hopefully you guys in Europe getting everything at once. And over here, it does suck, but things gotta travel overseas sometimes and take extra time, and at least we're getting something instead of nothing, which it's good news to see the allocation total has room for Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily to wiggle and be able to put up pre-sales. Another thing I covered that I want to get to is that on the Pasadena Center, we saw a YCS go up, and then it went back off of here. That's not confirmation that it's not going to happen or happen. And people are like, why are you covering it? It already went off. Well, I didn't know it went off in the first place. I was covering that it went up on there. But it doesn't take away from my point that I was saying, don't buy your plane ticket. Don't commit to any travel. The whole lesson was, look over here in Florida. This one got canceled and ended up being rescheduled. But people are also saying in Pasadena, no shot. I just want to scroll down here and say they have the Dragon Ball Super National Championship scheduled in the same convention center. It's confirmed by the card game over here on their website. It's more of a Konami decision than a restriction decision, just for those guys who aren't in the know or paying attention to areas and restrictions. This is something that could happen, but again, don't commit to anything until Konami officially announces and says we're on, game on. That was the huge news, and that is why I covered it. Finally, I know we're around Twitter and all these places a lot. Burst of Destiny premiere was announced, and we see that a Flundreeze is an ultra sneak peek promo, which means it's a secret in the set, and we've seen that can still be very expensive, as now sneak peek promos are way harder to get than they used to be and really don't crash the price. In fact, the promo often becomes pricier than the secret rare. Into some changes in the market today. Chamber Dragon made the Eternal Rivals on Market Watch. They went up even higher despite the looming reprint just from not being in the Megatins. Oh, I don't want that dirty gold rare. I think the premium gold rares look really excellent from Maximum Gold. But hey, that's just me. It also gave us double sleeving in the community, unlike the Starlights that kept getting people DQ'd. But when it comes down to it, we do see the price increasing in actual sales around the $80 mark from you guys who just can't stop yourself. Leviair the Sea Dragon Ultimate Rare is an interesting thing that's been ticking up. Phantom Knights getting a lot of attention, and now Phantom Knights are getting reprinted in the 10, so people looking to max out in other places, and we do see people spending very good money all the way into today on this card, and it is interesting. It helps you make F-Zero. It's better Power Tool. Actually, Power Tool's arguable on that, but like we were talking about the generations and how people would play this in past formats too on stream. It's a really freaking cool card overall, and I understand. The OTS pack leaked. Well, I shouldn't say leaked. It went up over on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card database, which we would think would be intentional, and people are arguing over if this will be the alter art or not, since we just got the collector rare. This is one of those shows where Market Man isn't always right. I thought the collector rare would be a great version. Obvious stonks as we head towards the Utopia structure either coming to us or being pieced out in Ghost from the Trash 2 or something. Well, now it has a competitor, and to point out that it won't probably be the alter art. The alter art does have itself over here on the database as an independent picture, so this is probably regular Utopia. People criticizing it. Why? Oh my gosh, we just got the collector rare. I kind of understand it. You know, Stardust has so many more rarities and Love Utopia doesn't. So close together doesn't make as much sense. Like, at least the Starlight, Stardust, and collector rare were spread a year out. But yeah, this is a little bit quick, but at the same time, I actually understand it. It's not King's Copium. There's a joke name if you want it, but I'm not copiuming on the Utopia to carry this as Lightning Storm spikes up in price and all that stuff for King's Court, but it is a very weird reprint. Also, a lot of cards missing the mark from here, as people are mainly mad at this set, by the way. I think Imperm's a great lead. The Utopia is actually a pretty cool choice after Firewall, and then Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos is a spit in the face of the community if it's not in Gold Series or Brothers, but like, the other cards really feel like they miss the mark when you have a Scrap Raptor upgrade, and then you miss certain other things, like, you know, you miss Scrap Chimera in the set, and people are like, man, I really wanted that card at this point to have a reprint, or Quaggar Hercules, which we know might not end up being in Brothers or Gold because these were slated so long ago and got pushed back multiple times. We could be waiting till a March reprint set on these, or Konami was ahead on the ball, and they will actually be in these sets. Is why they're not in the OTS? We'll have to wait and see as a community, but I'm half doubtful, half hopeful. I'm not trying to overhype myself that we'll get reprints on these, but yeah, a lot of people feeling like it missed the mark. Another note with the Wind Synchro Duelist pack coming up, Legendary Duelist here in the TCG, is that Crystal Wings Ghost has been getting a very big jump in sales rate lately as people look to add it to their in the boards on other rogue decks too, / decent decks in the metagame, and it goes up somewhat quickly over here. So if you've been considering this option for some time from Ghost from the trash, well, it is one of the ultra chase cards and something to consider at this point. Fusion Destiny has gone up to where it's $10 a copy for either version right now as people continue to rush for it after the ban list. And looking around at other weird hero buyouts, we see that Celestial is $40 for the freaking secret rare. Are you kidding me? Most people don't even play this in their deck / engine. They choose to look at other options, be it Dasher, Malicious, the draw guy. This just doesn't make the most sense. And this is a draw effect too, by the way. I'm talking about draw hand. But yeah, the secret rare being so much when you do have ultra and a common, and there's a lot of the ultras around, I don't know, it just feels really weird for the people to try to stick this one. Torrential has so much in past formats. I actually boomered out and forgot it was even in GOAT format for a second, because my last 10 games, I either didn't see this or didn't have a situation where I ended up destroying my own cards. But as many past formats as the current formats where it's popped back up, like in 2019 and in Paleo decks and that kind of stuff, this is still $18 plus for the secret rare over here. This is a card I didn't know stuck so hard in price for what it is. Makes a lot of sense being out of legendary collections, but it's done nothing but continue to rise, and the first editions are near 150, and people expect me to be like shocked, oh my gosh, crazy first edition old buyout. That's the kind of content that I don't bring to Market Watch as much, because it's never surprising to me anymore. Like Labyrinth of Nightmare as a set, how much is that sealed for first edition at this point? 150, almost, not to sound like a crazy rambler that goes around the community saying this should moon the rocket, but 150 almost seems undervalued to a degree for near mint copies when you're considering how much Labyrinth of Nightmare goes for sealed, and there's only a couple cards ahead of it in any terms of sales rates. And what are you chasing after to slab or put near mint or play in your past format decks? Typically torrential over the other two. So just saying, I'm not all that shocked to say $150 torrentials around the market are going to not be really that crazy to me when you look at all the DR4, the retro pack, all the crazy collector buyouts. Dimensional Barrier has popped up in the OCG just a little. Sorry, I got a live editing done cheap without editing. Dimensional Barrier, though, it's an interesting card in the fact that, like, you have so many fusion decks coming up. You have VW with Synchro Xyz. You have Pendulum making the rogue rounds right now. Still an interesting deck. But no, most seriously, fusion summoning and being able to call fusion and stop them from being special summoned at all is interesting. And we do see the first Ed secret rare still around $10 here. And we've seen whenever it gets true hype, it kind of spikes from that 6 to 9 range, nice, into the 18-22 range. So you might want to get yours sooner than later. There's also past formats like ABC, Metal Foe, and, you know, the good old Paleo Frog we just brought up that would be playing this as well. The original secret rare is very nice. Collector rare, Pancratops getting a double down buyout as dinos didn't get hit on the list. I don't find that surprising at all, yet a lot of people do. Oh, they should further hit miss, so they should do something to dinos that got powered up. They just took care of dinos, and it's like in the rogue section. Are you just that mad at facing dinos at locals all the time? But seriously, we see it spike once again as the collector rare goes out, and it just doesn't make Ancient Guardians worth opening. This is why I said I feel like going for collector rares out of these sets is almost really good value, because you have to open 4 cases on average to see one collector rare, and we do see Skullmeister starting to go next. I think it was over 20 quantities very recently, and now it's towards 17, so people starting out of these really failed sets to target the couple collector rares that are very desirable or good. Lancia is insanely low on listings as a counter to Crossout Designator, and I understand this one because Crossout Designator actually reads that it is not a cost. It's the activation requirement to declare one card name. Then you banish one of that declared card, and if you do. So Lancia actually is a pretty nice counter to Crossout Designator when it's activated, stacking on the chain, also like 2 for 2ing your opponent for their resources, and then turn 1 floodgating them, which is especially devastating against decks like Tri-Brigade. So the nicest version going, but there's tons of the gold rares and other versions like the ultra rare out of Duel Devastator, which are decent holos, to say the least. The secret rare just looks the nicest. And finally, somebody pointed out something interesting that did happen that I didn't pay much attention to. Mind Control, you know, back in June, July was a $15 to $20 card, and then it actually started selling for 7s, 6, 5s even out here as near mints, and then it started to trek back up. I completely missed this dip and respike. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me that this card, as a game promo, so many would have been damaged in circulation. Yeah, it gets around the Forbidden and Limited list with even speculation on it, but it's still selling like through the last few days after the F and L list where people just want it. I actually don't understand when, why, where it dipped, but it shows that the market isn't always upwards, and if you pay attention sometimes, that can pay you. So always be looking around the market for deals for cards you've been waiting for. They're not always at the maximum, always climbing crazy buyouts, but here is a dip that I actually did miss that you could have, you know, had a nice card from the game promo collectibles for your collection at a much better price, almost a third of what it's spiked back up to recently. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Go check out Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily's pre-sales. The prices are amazing versus the market, and as of this video, it looks like they're deep enough quantities that nothing has sold out while I've been recording. So, code Weds Good 5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly. Thanks for watching, everybody.